Okay, so, institutional change. This is a hard one. I grew up in like dance clothes, institutional change. Yeah, sure. I have a PhD in urban planning. Thank you very much. But still, it was like institutional change. Oh, that's kind of scary. So, institutional change. Histories are full of invention and destruction. Despite the fact that things grow and die, struggle to create institutional change anyway. Institutional change helps us to get beyond ourselves. It helps us imagine new precedents for action that are not dependent on our own hands, but magnified many times over. Institutional change is also important because it creates formal spaces, protocols, and processes for community work. It legitimizes our values in the public sphere. Institutional change often requires attending a lot of meetings and sometimes wearing dressy attire, so just own a suit. I mean, actually, it was on the road in Chiapas, and I'm riding in this bus, going with all these community artists from one place, and they're like, you have a suit? Of course I have a suit. And we joked about having like the community arts suit, and you keep it in the closet, and whoever has to go to a fancy, formal, institutional change meeting can go in and use the suit, and then they can put it back, and then someone else can use the suit, and then, yeah, but you do have to have a suit. Let me start. Sorry. It's just something you have to do. So actually, up here you see Lauren Akasal, one of my students, and Tamika Norris, one of my students, and this was an activity we did actually studying the Odyssey. So that's Odysseus over there. I thought it was perfect. Okay, so institutional change is also important. Yes, what I said. Own a suit, it won't change you. It's what inside the suit that counts. That's right. Try to institutionalize the best practices and ideas that the group comes up with. And if things don't work out, don't take it personally. Move on to the next thing. My mommy taught me that. She said, you're dealing with bureaucracies, I noticed. Yeah. If things do work out, celebrate with everyone and help make it happen, and there can never be an excess of gratitude. Institutional change means you want it to be sustainable. You want to formally recognize the value of a process now and in the future, so dream out loud. Examples of this, in my case, were creating classes that didn't exist, like we didn't have arts education classes for some reason, except for in music. We didn't have them in any of the other, we didn't have them in dance, well, we did have them in dance. Okay, what do we have now? We didn't have them in many of our different schools, and we don't have a credential, for example, to do so. So we're working with academic advancement programs and other arts programs to connect both at UCLA and also in the neighborhoods. We tried to establish a new minor, worked almost a year on that, and then the thing flopped. Now we're trying to get a credential. So if anybody you know is interested in a PE dance-focused credential you want to teach in the schools, please come talk to me afterwards. We're sparking dialogue. This is my suit. And also, we know in the middle, this is really important, this is Karen Bass in the middle. And Michelle, are you in the house? Well, she's not. This is a professor over here on the right from social work. This is myself in my suit. This is Karen Bass, who's our majority leader in California. And then right here is Layla Hassan, he pulled out this last year, so Mr. Lopez, so I forget his, which is really bad. But we work together to start a conference now that we meet every year, and they're not other artists. Who comes to the conference? The School of Social Work, the School of Education, and ArtsBridge. And when they were about to cut ArtsBridge, because there's no more money, I said, wow, the majority leader from the California Senate, the California legislature is coming to art. It's going to be our keynote speaker. How could you, if they like it, how come you don't like it? So it's really politically important. So I'm really, really serious. You need to own the suit. You need to, like, don't even try to please the little people right around. Like, go straight to the biggest, most loudest, most notorious person you can find to help you create legitimacy for your organization. And then over here we have just examples of this. In the top right corner, this is a meeting we had with LAUSD trying to figure out, oh, how can we figure it? You need dance teachers. We have dancers. We don't have credentials. Can you hire our dancers if we create a credentialing program? We do all kinds of stuff like that. In the bottom, we had a meeting with all the teachers, the art teachers from Compton Unified School District with Compton College. Now, if I was thinking, UCLA, what's in this for me? You know, I'm thinking, what does this have to do with anything? But the kids that we're working with in the schools need free classes or need concurrent enrollment opportunities, and the district doesn't have enough money to pay for them. So why not look to local resources, right? So we have a planning process going on at 3 different levels: community college, K through 12, and UC. And then in the top right corner, this was the apple fruit marketing, neighborhood markets in South LA, and kids that are dying of diabetes because actually, if you have limited income, you have limited food choices, and unfortunately WIC gives money for cheese and bread and cereal and not necessarily fruits and vegetables, which is state policy, so you really need to own a soup. Okay. So, interrogating and creating knowledge. Okay, I know I have to be this so fast. Knowledge is delicious. We all want to be knowers. We can all learn from one another. The creation of knowledge and research is guided by inquiry. Creating forums for people to ask questions and what they care about is absolutely a radical practice. Did you know that research was radical? Most of my students are like, I don't like research. And then one of them comes up with, artists are researchers of the human soul and society. We push the culture forward by pushing the boundary. So, I don't know if you knew you were researchers, but anyway, we've been doing stuff like that. So, it's a radical step, though, to ask questions that are important to different people. It's important to yourself. Just basically, the whole academy is formed on the idea that we're going to ask questions that are useful and important to other folks. And so if you don't happen to be a white, property-owning, heterosexual male with U.S. citizenship, learn how to ask questions and call yourself a researcher. It really works. So we do knowledge production in everything that we do, and we do it conscientiously, and people dig it. We have right here at the top left a evaluation process all about the teachers and the kids and the scholars coming up and saying, well, what is it that we're doing? What's not working? What can we do better? And it's not just, are we nice? Are we, doing our services kindly? But what are we learning about this process? And in the bottom right corner, you can't really see, but we asked this wonderful evaluator to put together a thing called a logic model. It's also a really good thing to have if you're trying to cut your program. Logic model. Okay, so 10, just to wrap things up, opening pathways. Keys, doors, pathways, choices are all crucial to human development. Eshu and Levada govern the crossroads, and Bahia people leave offerings at the crucigradas or crossroads to abrius, caminhos, and even in Jewish tradition on the Pesach, we open the door for the ancestors to show up and anyone you've never met yet to show up. So I think more now that my artwork, my creative process is more about opening pathways to the best of my ability, with many people that are wonderful as I can. That's quite a canvas, isn't it? I will open the doors of every canvas and every theater space. Yeah, I no longer work in a black box. Now it's all about opening doors in the city and navigating them with wonderful people. That's what happened after my dance career.